It's story time. Are we ready for this?
I don't know, are we?
This I am calling the tale of the leashless bleh, I can't even say
The
it.
leashless lease.
She can't say it either. Okay, here we go.
Take 3.
Take 500. The tale of the leashless leash rule.
Congratulations, yo. Spit it out.
Wow, that's hard to say. Leashless leash rule.
Just create a tongue twister.
We did. So let me set the scene for you. It's late in the camping season. I want to say
Mid-late
mid-August.
August.
I think it might have even been just before in-service started. You weren't even out.
No, I was out there.
Were you out? I don't remember.
Yeah, I was.
Either way, there's this guy that's just constantly, he's walking his dog, which is great. Walk your dog. We walk our dogs all the time. And he's got it on a leash. And then he drops the leash. The whole idea behind a leash is that you have the animal under control,
You have
right?
physical control of it.
So I didn't think anything of it. I thought, all right, you know what? He was heading into his sight. I'm not going to pick this fight this first time. I see him later again. He's out walking his dog. Dog's on a leash, but the dog's 20 feet ahead of him. No physical connection between the owner and the dog. And I was cleaning bathrooms, so I had the Forest Service truck, and I got out of the truck and I talked to him a little bit. And he called the dog, and the dog kind of looked over its shoulder like, what? And he got the dog to come back, and I a lot of times when I'm dealing with a leash issue, I talk to the dog. I don't talk to the owner. So I get down on my knee and I scratch the dog behind its ear and how's you doing? Hey, your leash doesn't do you a whole lot of good if your owner here's not holding on to it. You really should make sure your owner holds on to your leash. And the guy goes, oh yeah, and he picks the leash up and it's all good. I mean, the guy got it. I said, I get it. The dog listens, but it's still a rule of the campground, and there are people that don't appreciate dogs, and I have seen your dog go into other people's sites. Thankfully, they weren't occupied, but I still, you got to keep the dog physically under control. Yeah, no problem. So I go off cleaning bathrooms, and later that day he comes and gets firewood. Dog jumps out of the car, and I'm like, all right, here we go again. At least this time, the dog was in the car when he drove down to get firewood. And I scratch the dog behind the ear, and I go, what is this? No leash again. And the owner goes, get back in the car, and the dog gets in the car, and it's fine.
Yep.
The next day, I'm in the Forest Service truck. I'm heading to Moose Lake. I'm getting ready to go clean. And again, here's this guy. He's walking his dog. He's holding the leash this time, which is great. As soon as he passes the Forest Service truck, he drops the leash. I'm already cruising down the road. I'm like, I'll talk to him when I get back. On my way out, I just happened to run into the Forest Service law enforcement. And we rolled the windows down and we talked for a few minutes. And he was looking for somebody that, for a different reason. But he said, as long as I'm in here, is there anything you need me to take care of? I said, well, as a matter of fact, that guy you drove past, I've talked to at least 3 times now about keeping his dog under control. He keeps dropping the leash. And so the law enforcement says, yep, I'll take care of it, no problem. So I go off to Moose Lake and I clean the bathrooms, and that's a whole nother story. They weren't very pretty. Yeah. There's something about that campground. They eat toilet paper or something.
I can't figure that one out.
I can't figure it out.
We go through less in ours than we did over there.
There's 2 bathrooms there for a total of 8 rolls of toilet paper.
Yeah.
And they will go through as much in the 15 sites that are there, they will go through as much, if not more, toilet paper than the 7 bathrooms and 29 sites at Black Lake.
Yeah, and 28 rolls of toilet paper.
I swear they're eating it there, but that's another story.
Yeah.
Anywho, I come back from Moose Lake, and I'm cleaning bathrooms, and sure enough, here comes the law enforcement guy. He's still looking for whoever he's looking for, but he stops and he talks to me, and he says, I talked to that guy. He's got the dog on an e-collar, so it's fine. Stephanie's with me at this point, and I looked at him and I said, it's not what the rule says. He says, oh yeah, e-collars count. And in case you're wondering what an e-collar is, I don't have mine in here.
No.
It's an electronic collar. It's a zap collar where you can beep the dog or buzz it or zap it. A training collar. They're saying that counts. And I'm like, I've never heard this before. What do you mean that counts? Oh yeah, that completely and absolutely counts. 100%. Why would that count? That doesn't make any sense to me. Why would
No.
that count? Well, the long and the short of it, I did some more digging. I've gotten a hold of our supervisor with the Forest Service, and I've said, hey, I need clarification here because this makes no sense to me.
Right.
The
Explain
whole
this.
idea behind the leash rule is to keep the animals safe and to keep others safe. We've had dogs come running clear across the campground into our site before and had to pull our dogs back while the other one of us tried to muscle that dog away. The whole idea behind a leash rule is to prevent that. So if an e-collar counts, then why have a leash rule at all? So that's the tale of the leashless leash rule. It's become now where if you have a training collar, you don't have to have
A physical.
a physical connection to the dog. And in my mind, that makes no sense.
No.
So that's something you guys could give us feedback on is...
What do you think about that?
What do you think about that? Have you ever heard anything like that? Because it strikes us as really, really weird.
It does.